This is an overview of ULSR mapping. It's ULSR. It's a new option in map.mp4 software, ULSR mapping. Before we do that, we'll take a look at how to set it up. Here we have the serial console screen for the AM3440. Under the system setup, S, shown here, we type the letter S. If ULSR software or PDH ring software is existent in the box, and this is an optional piece of software, then these two options appear in the menu. Otherwise, there is a gap there. R, PDH ring protection. This is much like a sonnet ring, but on a T1, E1, or fiber optic card basis. That needs to be enabled. A unit has to be master or slave, and we pick the ports that are the protection ports. This one and this one. This is a counter-rotating ring. Port 1 goes in one direction, port 2 goes in the other. If there's an error on either one of those lines, it reverts back in the other direction to preserve the link. We can escape from there, save the changes, yes. Under the system setup, ULSR requires this one-to-N multicast mapping. That's already done. The transport cards, in this case, we'll look at a T1, and we're going to look at port 1, system setup, S. Framing must be T1403, FDL must be on. This is required for proper time control through the loop. And recall earlier too that one unit was master, all the other units in the ring are slaves. This is typically a head-in to drop units going around the ring, although it doesn't have to be done exactly that way, but often that is the case. We can escape from here. We've set up the system information, the ring software is installed. It is important also to get the clock set up correct. Internal clock, if this is the master, the other locations will have one clock from what we might call the east incoming T1, in this case it's T1, and the other clock coming from the other direction. In the map.mp4 software, under Tools, we have a setting for ULSR mapping. When we click on this, a new screen comes up. We pick a drop side, FXS, and for our transport side, we'll have a quad T1 port 1, a quad T1 card port 2. Those were the two ports we set up. We're going to have port 1, go to port 1, and this is a drop. We're coming out of an FXS card, and we click on that. You'll notice that voice is grayed out. It's automatic. The software knows that an FXS card is a voice card. Perhaps we're sitting somewhere on the ring and we just want to bypass. We click on time slot 2. This becomes a bypass port. As long as this FXS card is selected, we have no choice here. That will be selected as a voice port. Let's change this and make this blank. Now we can have a choice of voice or data. We may have a router card or an RS-232 card just passing through this point but not dropping off. Click bypass and it's done. There are some subtleties here. You'll notice that this line has a little small tick to the right. That indicates the direction of the data, that it's going out to the right. This tells us it's mapped to a 12 FXS card on port 4, slot 1. We'll look at that FXS card here. and now we can see it as a map. Notice on this arrow, this side of it is long, this side is short. Down below, the left side is short, the right side is long. What this tells us is this FXS card going from the drop to the two T1s. On the east side, it's going out to the right clockwise east. Here it's coming in from the west, clockwise again. From the left-hand side, west comes in from the left, east goes out to the right. One-click mapping. Same for unmapping. We can click this and click here and unmap it. It's gone. Create it again. They're still highlighted. It's a drop. Click and it's mapped. When we're finished, we can go back here, activate the map, and we're done. Very simple. If this were done with the AM3440 console, it's a very complicated process. This simplifies it to the extreme.